Hello, everyone. This is Nidal Haykal with a new guest and new live on LinkedIn and YouTube. My guest for today, she is a speaker, business mentor, author, and she helps you building a strong personal brand in just 90 days. Let's all welcome Tisha Marie Pelletier.
Hey, thank you so much, Needle. Good to be here. Happy Wednesday to everybody watching. And yeah, I'm excited. Let's get going.
Hello, Tisha. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good this morning. How are you?
Great. Enjoying the cold weather, East Coast.
I'm
You see,
enjoying I do.
our guest. You know, this is my son cat. So I'm sorry taking your spot.
You're so funny. You even mentioned that in the green room. You're like, the cat sometimes goes right behind me, and I just see this like fur
Yeah.
moving. I just see this fur. It's very much like my dogs that bark during my live stream, too.
So this is a pet friendly life. So
Pet friendly,
yeah,
pet friendly. They're
we're
all in
good.
the other room.
Tisha, first, I want to wish you a happy new year, and for sure, all the wishes for more success. You are a very successful lady, and I introduced you to the audience how Tisha would introduce herself.
Well, thank you so much again, and Happy New Year, and best wishes for 2021 to you, Nidal, and everybody who's watching us live or the replay. I always like to start by saying that I am literally the authentic girl with a touch of badass. Like that is on my LinkedIn profile. It truly is like the words that I describe when I'm meeting someone, because I want to be known for that authenticity, that honesty, that integrity, and always providing value wherever I can, always creating those connections. So that honestly is me in a nutshell. When I meet people, that's what I want them to be able to take away from meeting me.
Welcome, Tisha, and we are so happy to be with you today. How was your 2020? It was a year of fear, social distancing, and for sure the mask. But with all this, there should be some positivity. What's your takeaway from 2020?
There was definitely all of that, Needle. I experienced a lot of pivots, and I always try to tell people that your life is not just going to be the plan that you stick with for your whole life. It's going to ebb and flow and change. And I know for me, I experienced several pivots, and I would say the one word that I like to put out there is resilience. We all have to learn to be resilient. We all have to learn to bounce back because certain circumstances, like the ones we just experienced, they're inevitable. It happens. Things happen in life. And so for me, I really am ending 2020 on a very high note because I forced myself to figure it out and felt very much like I was starting all over again in business. I've been in business for a long time, but I've had different adventures, different experiences, and it forced me to think outside the box. And of course, to take it to a digital arena of being able to help people more across the globe, as opposed to, oh, I just help people right here in my own neighborhood. So that's the one big change for me in the new year is that I was able to take a step back, look at the big picture, and say, how am I going to pivot and change direction, not just for this year, but so that it carries and sustains me throughout the rest of this decade. And so I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the growth that I'm experiencing, the personal and professional development, and being able to just change direction and just go. I think that a lot of us get stuck on, okay, I'm just going to keep thinking about it, and then I'm just going to sit and wait on it, and hopefully that comes to me. I really pride myself on, you think about it and you move. You start going. You start moving in the direction, no matter how scared or how fearful you are, knowing that it's better on the other side. But you got to do it first.
And here comes one of my questions. You mentioned resilience. First, thank you, Nathan, for joining us. And he's saying he can't spell. It's okay. It's rock stars,
The
but
rock stars. Hey,
it's
Nathan.
it's only Tisha rock star.
No, no, give yourself some credit. Needle is also a rock star. So
Yay!
thank you, Nathan. Thank you, Nathan, for being on with us too.
Thank you, Nathan. One of my questions was about resilience.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna go to the second part of the question, which is, does rejections slows you down? I read one of your posts about rejection, and it's so inspiring. So how Tisha deals with rejection?
As I was sharing a little bit earlier, there's going to be rejection all the time. So you have to brace yourself for that. You're not always going to get the yes. You're not always going to get that opportunity that you had your heart set on. I think the post that you're referring to, Nidal, was on the TEDx rejection. And
Exactly.
so TEDx has always been one of my bucket lists. I think for many of us, where we all want to make that TEDx stage, we all want to be a presenter on that stage, because it just means that you kind of like made it as a speaker. It's like check mark. I've done it. I've accomplished that. And so a couple years ago, I remember in 2017, a friend of mine said, "Hey, you should really apply for this TEDx out here in Chandler." And so I like to share this story, Needle, of why this is so important to me and why I keep working for it. But back in 2017, I applied. I had to actually get up and give like an American Idol kind of talk in front of judges for TEDx out here in Chandler. And I felt like I blew those judges away, blew them away, right? I was like, oh my gosh, I got this, my first time ever gonna get on that stage. And then when the judges came back to me, they said, you know what, Tisha, we have something better for you. We loved you so much, but we think you would be better suited to be the MC of the TEDx talk. And I'll tell you, Needle, I was like, what on
What
earth? Like, I was so mad. I was
what
so
what,
upset.
what's an MC?
So I was honestly the host of the whole show. So I was carrying the show. I was getting up on stages, and I was introducing all of these speakers and carrying it. And I remember just being so just like in my own head and in my own way of that's not what I went out for. I went out to be a presenter, and you stuck me with the MC role. And I was pretty upset. I was pretty upset until a friend of mine kind of snapped me back to reality. And she's like, do you know how many people get an opportunity like this? Not everybody gets an opportunity to be the host of the TEDx talk. And it's one step closer to your goal of getting up there to present. So be happy with what you've got, take it. And don't look at it as a rejection. Look at it as an opportunity. And I know Jeanette says this, look at that rejection as a redirection.
Direction, yes.
And so what I learned in that, Nidal, is that I do a lot of professional and public speaking, but I can also hang as the host and MC and make sure you have a very lively show, because that's something that I do. And so it was really key for me for that, for this TEDx audience to see that I had that ability and that skill to do it. And have I made the TEDx stage? No, not yet. I think that's still, it's still coming, but one step closer, one step closer, one step closer. So that post that you saw was all about being rejected for a TEDx that I went out for here in Scottsdale. But within an hour, getting another opportunity to speak for my alma mater, Arizona State University, and leading their whole entrepreneurial department and their students to finish strong in 2020. And so that was just a key moment for me. And I want to share that with people that, yeah, you're going to get rejected. And we all have to just be okay with, I didn't get it. But when you look at rejection, know that there's another opportunity around the corner that's coming for you. Maybe something better, maybe something that you never expected, but there is another opportunity. You have to just keep thinking that in that positive mindset.
At least not to lose the hope.
Right, right. When you've lost all hope and you're just like thinking negatively, that really does come back to you. I shared in this talk of, are you success conscious or are you failure conscious? And that's the thing, is, are you constantly looking for that success and going after that success? Or are you already like, it's not going to happen for me, I might as well stop trying? Like, I can't tell you how many TEDx's I've actually applied for. And I know that the one that chooses me to get up on that stage is the one that, that's the one I was waiting for. And I'm all good with it. So you don't stop trying because you don't get it. You keep trying.
Exactly, yes. You'll never know what big opportunity is waiting.
Right.
And Tisha, you mentioned your friend that she opened your eyes that it's also a big opportunity. And my question, do you think we need always support to succeed? Like maybe family members, maybe friends, maybe mentors?
Oh my goodness. Yes. Hands down. Yes. I think that when you go at it on your own, you get in your own way. We are our worst critic, right? I can't do this. I won't do this. How can I possibly do this? Like we get on that negative self-talk journey. And that's what crushes us. That's what keeps us stopping in our tracks. But like had I displayed that type of behavior, let's say I would have gone back to that TEDx judging panel and said, I'm not doing this. Like it's so beneath me. I don't want to do it. Like what if I had that kind of attitude instead of, you know what? I'm taking it as a challenge. Yes, I'll do it. Yes, I want to make this happen. And it has actually given me more opportunities. So I think when you have those outside influences that cheer you on, support you, just like Nathan, for instance, or just like you, Nidal, who are constantly showing up in your world and saying, you've got this, you start to believe it. You believe it, other people believe it, and you start to keep moving in that direction. We all need that support. We all need those cheerleaders. Why I do business mentoring, why I love helping people who are starting up their business, because I've been there. I've done that, and I want to help the next person succeed. So I'm so invested in other people's success. And the same, I want that for me too. I want other people to look at me and go, I know you can succeed, and push me along, because I don't want to just be stuck in the mud. I want to keep moving. And you need people for that. You need people to be able to speak to you and like speak into you and tell you that you're doing just fine. Keep moving.
Yes, yes, indeed. We need those people in our lives. And here comes the difference between if we are surrounded by noisy people who always, put sticks in our wheels to go forward, and all the positive sounds that encourage us to do more, and we still have a lot to give.
Mm-hmm.
Nathan has a 3 pages question.
3 pages. Nathan. Just kidding. Just kidding.
So you see it at your end, right?
I do.
He's asking about what's the first turning point when you decided to change your mindset, and what age, and what was the trial in your life, and who was it that turned you around, or was it a specific book? So
Ah, loaded question. Okay, Nathan, I'm gonna take it piece by piece. So what is the first turning point when you decided to change your mindset? I'm gonna go back a little bit in my story. I feel like I've had a lot of turning points, but the first one was jumping into this whole entrepreneurial journey, much like many of you who are starting businesses. I went to Arizona State University. I think some of you know my story. I actually graduated with a degree in broadcast journalism and a minor in business and marketing. And I had that plan set. Remember, Needle, I was saying sometimes we think that the plan we have is the plan that's going to sustain us for the rest of our life. Not the case, especially with circumstances how they are. And I remember when I was in college, I was in my senior year, so excited to be the next Connie Chung, like wanted to be a broadcast anchor woman, like report the news, all of this. And I remember being in this class, and the guest speaker we had, I really admire people who don't sugarcoat, who really tell you like it is, who give you the facts and the reality of what life will be like. And at that point, I was probably just about 20 years old. And the speaker was said, if this is what you want for your life, be prepared for long hours, small pay, sacrificing your family, breaking news, like all of these things. Is that what you want? And also competition, and not just on a competition with other news anchors, but competition in terms of other people looking at you and criticizing you when you get on screen. Do they like your hair? Do they like your makeup? Do they like your clothes? Are you overweight? Are you wearing something appropriate? Like all of those things. And I remember leaving that class going, oh my gosh, like I don't even know that this is what I want for my life anymore. And my mindset started to shift, and I knew that whatever step I took next, I was going to be just fine. This plan that I had, straight out the window, actually went home and was like, I'm not going after this anymore, this plan. And I immediately started to change my direction, ended up working for some marketing ad agencies, learned as much as I could, and 3 years later launched my own company. So I knew already that I had that entrepreneurial mindset, that I knew I could do this. But I also had to come to grips with the plan that I had set for myself for so long wasn't going to be the plan. It wasn't going to be the plan. But now you guys see, Nidal especially, you see that I host like Tisha Talks live and I'm always on podcasts and I'm on this live with Nidal. It's so funny to me that my whole broadcast journalism degree has come full circle to doing the things that I still love to do, getting on stages and being on camera and interviewing and podcasting. So it's funny how things work out. So that was, I would say, one of the trials in my life. I've had several trials. I've actually written about it in my books, Nathan. I'm happy to share all those with you. And then you talked about, like, was it a specific book? You know, what turned your life around? I've read a couple books. Nathan and I have actually had some conversations on books that we've read. I'm reading right now Think and Grow Rich. That book is amazing. If anyone hasn't read it, you absolutely need to, because it definitely changes your mindset to start thinking that you already are in possession of it. You're not working toward it. You're already in possession. And now figure out how you get there. The other book that I know we talk about a lot is The Go-Giver. The Go-Giver is an incredible book. When I first started on my journey, I also read E-Myth Revisited, and really good book if you are contemplating whether to become an entrepreneur and if you have what it takes to be an entrepreneur. It's a key word, Nidal, that you said yesterday, discipline. Do you have it? Do you have the discipline in order to be your own motivator and to get up in the morning and make those dreams of yours happen?
Yeah, it needs a lot of discipline, and I see discipline as a habit. It's the way we train ourselves on daily basis to achieve, no matter
Mm-hmm.
what, even if it's one page reading or even doing little things, but it build up in building our discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Nathan, thank you for the group of questions, and thank you, Tisha. We have another question from Wael. How to ensure building a new tech startup business will survive competition and disruption?
Mm-hmm. Well, here's what I'm going to say to you, that we all have competition, but I mean, obviously, there's many companies that do what we do. There's many people that do what I do in terms of personal branding, strategy, mentoring, speaking. I mean, I can't tell you how many professional speakers are out there. But what I will say, while is that you really do need to figure out what stands you apart from the competition. Like, what is that unique selling point? Like, what do you do better than any other company out there? You've got to know those values. You've got to dispel that to the rest of the team that you're working with so that you're all on the same page. You have to be working together as a team, as a collaborative team. It can't be so segmented that this hand doesn't know what this hand is doing. When you're stronger as a team and you know the vision for your company, you start to move together as a group, as a team. So that's what I would suggest for you, especially with a startup company as well, is know what makes you you, know what makes you different, know what makes you, what is that thing that your customers will come to because that's what you're known for. Like, we can't be known for everything. What is the one thing you want to be known for?
We need
And
to
go with that.
differentiate ourselves.
Differentiate, of course, of course. As I shared, there are a lot of people that do what I do. Personal brand strategists, okay, everybody does that, right? But I chose to focus on realtors because I know that they need that. And I also chose to create a whole personal brand toolkit where I help people start from zero to building their rock star status in 90 days. Like, that's what I do differently. Other strategists might give you the blueprint, but I actually prefer to help with the execution. And I love that part. So what makes you different? And look at your competition and go, you know what? We do that differently and we do it better.
Tisha, I want to stop by your lifestyle, which it's a remark and it's a plus. In a time we are all addicted to social media, We can't leave our phones. We're always following what's going on. You took 2 weeks almost offline.
I did. I
Uh,
did.
I know the harder you work, the bigger prize and reward you need. But it's not easy to take off 2 weeks. Is it easy to take this? I've never tried it. Is it easy to take this decision?
So I made a decision. So here's another turning point for Nathan in my life. A couple of years ago, I was stretched so thin. I was definitely the yes girl. You ask me something, yes, of course, I'll be there. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. And what I realized was that I was sacrificing the very people that matter. My family, they matter. And I remember my son, he was 5 years old at the time, and I missed an important part of the day taking my daughter to this pizza place here in Arizona. And my son coming to me later that night, Nidal, and saying, "We weren't a family today. Like, you missed this today."
Wow.
And that was like, ah, like, look at this. Like, look how crazy eyes I get. And I remember just sitting outside of his bedroom, just sobbing. And I was like, oh, I've got to change this. This can't happen anymore. I can't keep living my life for work. Like, how many of us do that? How many of us are just like, oh, work, 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 work. And meanwhile, the people that really matter are the people that are suffering. They don't get to see you. You're angry. You're on the defense mode all the time. You're snappy. It's because you don't have that harmony in your life. And so I made it my mission that, immediately after, to really start saying no to things, to start setting boundaries, and to really have the life that I want. And no, that's not work crazy hours, go to bed at 2 a.m., get up at 5 a.m. Like, really having a healthy, balanced lifestyle where I incorporate the things that really matter, priorities. For me, Nidal, that's family, that's my health, that's my faith, and that's self-care. That's being able to incorporate all of those things into my day-to-day. So you were on my live stream yesterday commenting, and I feel like my most accomplished days are when I set 3 things on my to-do list and I get them done. And I don't sacrifice myself to get there. Like, I'm not working crazy hours, but I'm like done, done, done. So I give myself grace.
It needs a little bit time management.
It is. It's time management, but it's also not overloading yourself so that you look at it and go, oh, I'm never going to get to leave my office. Like, it's looking at it and going, this I need to get done today. This is okay to put off till tomorrow. Like, it doesn't all need to get done today. So for me, I already had those things in place when I decided, hey, my family is coming in town for the holidays. I haven't seen my sister and her family since 2010. It's time I take that 2 weeks to be able to spend it with them, play board games, eat pizza, whatever I'm doing, and not be fixated on what's going on social media, and do I need to be there, and do I need to be posting, and I think you need to be able to take those breaks, especially if you go on vacation. You need to be able to unplug and stay unplugged, because that definitely re-energizes, recharges you for what's to come next. Like, now I'm better prepared, and now I'm ready.
Yeah, there's always a good vibes from balancing our lives, as you said, and family is an essential part of our lives. We need to take care of that.
Mm-hmm.
Tisha, how attached are you to your company, Tisha Marie Enterprises? Because you mentioned, like, the minute we enter the webpage of tishamarie.com,
Mm-hmm.
which is, as you told me, it's related also to Tisha Marie Enterprises. You mentioned that everything you loved is there.
Mm-hmm.
How attached
Mm-hmm.
are you to this company? Because
I'm
anybody can feel there is a passion. It's not like, this is what I do in life.
uh-huh.
But you involved in that everything you love. Tell us about this company and passion.
Well, let's say it took me a long time to get here to this place, Nidal. I talk about personal branding a lot because I struggled with my own for a long time. I was the type that wanted to hide behind the entity. So back, years ago, I ran a marketing company. I ran an event management company, and I also ran an art organization for mom entrepreneurs. And I thought that that was what defined me until a business coach, when I finally had kind of hit my rock bottom, another turning point, Nathan, for you, back in 2015, when she said, you really should start building your own personal brand. And I thought she was completely crazy. But when I look at my personal brand now, it is so much me. It's so much about the things that give me joy, the things that I'm passionate about, the things I like to write about. I mentioned rule of life lessons. Those are all my deep stories, like my personal stories that I'm putting out into the world. And so when you ask, are you attached to it? I definitely am, because it is me. Everything you see on that page is a reflection or, an arm extension of me. And I want to help people do that same thing, with their personal brands as well. So yeah, it's taken me a while to get there, but as you were saying earlier, I'm a speaker, I'm an author, I'm a connector, I'm a business mentor. Those are all things that I've been doing for this whole time that I was like, those are things that I actually would do if I weren't getting paid. I'd still do it anyway because I love it that much. And I think that's when you get to that point where you realize that you're on the right path. It doesn't feel like you're forcing yourself, or, if someone was like, could you mentor me? Heck yeah, let's sign up. Let's do it.
That's what I love to do.
Yeah. You want to help, I need help building a group. Heck yeah, let's go. Like, I get excited to see other people get excited. So when they want to work with me, it's like bonus. So, I always laugh before I'm like, I can't believe this is what I get to do for my job. This is the stuff that I get to do. And I'm so fulfilled by the work that I do that it is such a big part of who I am and what I stand for.
Amazing. Nathan also, he's a sneak
Yeah.
to your background. He wants to know what's written on the wall behind you.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to move my head a little bit. So
Me
Nathan,
too. I want to know.
I get this question a lot. People often comment on it. So it says faith, love, and hope. That's what it says. And I have to turn around because I cannot read it off your screen. But it says faith makes all things possible, love makes all things easy, and hope makes all things work.
Wow.
And when I moved into this house, so we're the original owners of this house, and we built it in 2007. I found this, and this is my office that I'm in, my home office. And I immediately put that on my wall. And I've always contemplated, whether to take it down, whether to put a big like white board out there. And I'm like, I don't have the heart to take it down because it's such a great reminder of the way I choose to live, adding faith, love, and hope.
It is.
And so, yeah, so it's a little differentiator, right? That's what I have behind me.
Thank you, Nathan. I was aiming to ask this question, so he make it easier for me.
He's a good question asker. Thanks, Nathan.
Tisha, what's the story with Tisha Talks?
Tisha Talks.
I'm sorry. Hashtag Tisha Talks.
Okay. So one thing. Oh, yes. Go ahead. You were going to ask another question.
I just want to tell the audience that it's a weekly sessions. It's every week on 4:45 your time, Mountain Standard Time.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you want to tell us via Tisha Talks?
Sure. So Tisha Talks, I'm going to give a shout out, and I know he was just on your show, Bruce, the guy in the blue shirt, Carnahan. So shout out to Bruce. So I always say that you should have a hashtag. Nidal, do you use a hashtag?
Yes, I use my name. Yeah.
Okay, so same.
I have 0 followers.
That's okay.
Even I'm convincing my wife to follow this hashtag. She said, you are in front of me all the time. I don't want to follow you.
Well, here, I don't think my husband follows me either. So there you go. But he's not a social media person.
No, so, I didn't stay quiet. I blocked her. So no.
You're like, you don't even have the opportunity to be on it. No, you're good. So when Bruce and I first started interacting and so forth, on Fridays, I always do something called Convo in my Camry. So I have the hashtag Convo in my Camry. And I would always get these questions, Nidal, people saying, well, what if you ditch the Camry? What if you get a different car? Blah, blah. And I was like, You're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. Like Convo in my Camry has been definitely a fun ride. I think I will get another Camry once mine is, I'm done with it.
Yeah.
But Tisha Talks is something that Bruce actually was like, you should have a hashtag like Tisha Talks. And it's so simple, stupid, like keep it simple. But I was like, I'm going to use that hashtag. And it really has become what I tag every piece of content with that I create here on LinkedIn. And when I was thinking about now, I want to create this live stream. And in September, I really challenged myself to do a live. And I don't have a lot of guests on. A lot of times it's me talking solo, which is equally hard because you have to carry the show, you have to carry the tech, you have to, figure out why the dogs are barking.
It's harder.
And
I tried it a couple times. It's harder. You need to fill out all the, spaces and time. And
I know. And so I really gave myself the 4:45 time slot. And the reason why I say 4:45, and it's Mountain Standard Time, but I would say Arizona time is the best way to describe it because we don't change with the daylight savings and so
oh,
on. So Arizona time, 4:45. But the reason I did that is 4:45 is honestly the only time block in my day where the kids are doing their thing, the dogs are quiet, I'm not having to make dinner. Like it's the 15 minutes between 4:45 and 5 where I can jump on and just say something to keep a presence, to keep consistent. And so I started this live stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays in September and continue doing it. And it's really just my way of jumping in and throwing up some words of wisdom or asking a question or engaging in conversation. But you're right, it can be challenging some days if you don't have the comments coming in, but I've also again given myself grace, Nidal, where I'm like, if I'm done in 5 minutes, I'm done. If it's 25 minutes because people keep talking to me, awesome. Like I've really shown myself that I showed up, pat on the back. I showed up, pat on the back. Like I did this, pat on the back. Like that's a win. It's a good day. It's a good way to end my day with a win of I got up, I showed up, I did what I said I would do. I engaged with people. I helped someone through a question that I'm thinking about for myself or a question I want to pose to the audience. And that was it. So it's very simple, but I've had to get over my fear of doing it too. I think the first couple ones I did, I was like, I'm so nervous of doing this. And now it's like 4:45. I'm sure like your talk, it's like, here we go. Clock's ticking. Got to
yeah.
do it.
Yes. Yesterday, you mentioned in your Tisha Talks that it's not about the numbers. Even if there is one individual watching you and get something from what you want to deliver, you are happy and satisfied with that. And this is really very important because with this rule, you can be consistent and then the numbers is going to jump. So it's always, I like the idea. It's a meeting time. It's
Mm-hmm.
the 4:45. Whoever wants to join, they know already they're gonna be value in these sessions. It's amazing. It's really amazing.
Thank you.
My next question is about your books.
Uh-huh.
2010, you had the book When the Universe Throws a Curveball,
Yes.
and 2018, What Are the Odds?
Right.
And there is a lot of explicit words after that.
I do drop the F bomb a little bit in that last one.
Yeah. So, which one of those books is, you are more related to?
Oh my goodness. The second one for sure. Yes, the second one. And I have it. I have it actually sitting on my desk. So I'll show it to everybody. I'll cover up the explicit words. But this is the book that I wrote in 2018. It released and it's also on Audible. So I did record it. I narrated the book and it's my good friend Desiree, who I'll have on later today on my live. She said that the first book, I was very green. Like I was just getting into entrepreneurship. I was kind of testing the waters. Whereas the second book, I've gone through hell and back. I've lost everything. I've learned a lot of lessons. I've definitely come more into my shell, out of my shell. I've evolved as a person, as a human, and I've learned a lot about myself. And so you start to see a lot of that happening in the second book, where everything is story driven, everything. So if you're like, I want to hear some of Tisha's stories, I've written a lot of stories about my life, personally and professionally, things that have happened, success, struggles, all of these things. And that book, it really is a big piece of who I am. And truthfully, Nidal, I wrote those books for my kids. That was my way of leaving a legacy. It was a way for me to say, hey, you want to hear all of mom's stories back when she started this business? They're all documented for you. And they all have a rule of life lesson attached to it. So I know Nathan has a question here on the board. What important things do you teach your kids? I teach them about resilience. I teach them about if you want something badly, you go for it. That, that it has to be you. You can't depend on other people to do it for you, because
Not,
that doesn't ever happen.
not with the second book. It has a lot of words.
Yeah. There are a lot of lessons. I talk about, balance and how I had to learn that hard lesson of, I shared the story earlier of my son saying we're not a family. I've had to learn about communication with my husband, temptation, like all of these things. And I know that my kids right now are super young to read it. I have a 12 and a 9-year-old, but I know they'll appreciate that as they get older and go, wow, mom went through a lot. And you can tell the story, you can see the emotion, you can see everything that she went through, because I want to be able to express that too. So the book is full of emotion. You will laugh with me, you will cry with me. I have some funny stories thrown in there. And it's just part of life. You don't hold back on your life.
Definitely, it's gonna be on my list for this year. There is a big part of being a mom in the books.
There is. Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's something impressive, and you don't find it every day. Like someone yesterday, I don't remember who, but was posting about sending the kid to a daycare
Mm-hmm.
all day because I think I don't remember her name because she needs to take care of the business, and she faced negativity about being it's debating whether she's a good mom or not. Also, I loved the post, and the outcome of that post is to make all the negativity and the noise to go away, because no one knows better than you
Right.
what's the best. Um, and I've seen in the two cases a lot of proud of being mom, and this is very important because maybe because I'm a father, I know
Mm-hmm.
how important to be a mom. So all the respect for all the big role you are doing as a moms.
Thank you. And you being a dad, as well, and people who are watching this who also have kids, remember these are, people looking up to us. They're emulating what we do. They're looking at what we do, and we need to be leading by example. And it's how do you lead by example? And if it, like, let's say that I am constantly working all the time and I'm never around and I'm always putting them on the back burner, they're going to remember that. They're going to remember that for the rest of their life. So it's about making good choices. But to your point too, this woman that, had to make the decision of daycare or business or whatever, you're right. You're going to get a lot of people that are going to give you some slack. They're going to judge, and you just have to say, it's my choice. This is my choice. I will do what's right, because everybody wants to give you their opinion, not even knowing the situation.
It's a big decisions, especially working moms. They take on daily basis because the responsibilities are tremendous,
Mm-hmm.
and we are spoiled as a man.
Yes.
I, I, I hope my wife is not watching.
I'm gonna just say yes. Men,
Okay,
give a little
okay, honey, I'll
twaddle.
do the dishes later. So yeah, as I said, it's You deserve the respect as working moms,
Thank you.
and I think a lot of haters. I got.
Let them hate. Go ahead. I
I
don't need the haters.
I don't care. I used to sleep in the garage, so my wife trained me well.
Okay, that's another story. Sleeping in the garage.
Oh,
Okay,
we
that'll
have,
be one for offline.
oh, for the offline. Okay. My next station is the role of life lessons,
Uh-huh.
and mistakenly I thought it's 113, and I prepare it for 113, and it turned out it's 130.
Yes.
So my question is a little bit, selfish and materialistic. You unleash a lot of free tips within those lessons. Is
Mhm.
this influencing your entrepreneurship uh, progress?
I think what it's doing for me is it's a really great reflection of where I've been in my life, and that what I love so much about releasing stories that are so true to who I am and what I've been through is, remember how I said with Tisha Talks, if it helps one person or if someone resonated where they then connect with me and then we start the relationship, then it's worth it. I remember when I started doing these rule of life lessons, I had a woman out of Africa who reached out to me on LinkedIn, and she's like, I read one rule of life lesson, then I read the rest of them, and then I bought all the books that you have. And I was just so just like, speechless. Because I'm like, thank you so much for taking time to read a little bit of my story and to grasp the lesson that I learned. All of the lessons that I teach in there, Nidal, we have all come to it in our own way. We all have our own story, unique story of learning these same kinds of lessons. These are not all new lessons, right? But they're unique to me in that it's my story attached to it. So you may have derived at it in a certain way. So for me, it's really a great way to reflect, but to then look at, wow, look at how far I've progressed. Look at how far I've developed as a person, as a mom, as an entrepreneur, and then how can I help the next person if they're a new mom, if they're just starting out in business, or if they're struggling like I was years ago. So it's in the stories that we tell that we create the deeper relationship.
And there's a lot of bravery, introducing these stories because, as you said, it's unique, but at the same time, we all pass, within the same sort of stories.
Mm-hmm.
So when you introduce your story, you are encouraging me, you know what? Yeah, this has happened to me, not in details, but look what Tisha took away from this story and
Right.
how I'm, not doing anything. It's a big lead.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely it's courage that you need. It's that bravery to put yourself out there. It's also a lot of vulnerability, because a lot of the stories I share, if you read any of them, they're not success stories. They're struggles, they're challenges, they're things that I faced that I felt down and out, but it's you start to see that resilience that we talked about earlier. You start to see that coming through a little more in the story, that courage building up, that confidence building up. And so it really is more of that inspirational, that push that you need to get back up. I've been there, you can do this. I've been there, you can do this too. So that's what, so when you say, is it selfish? I wouldn't say selfish. I say that it's like it's serving, it's serving other people through storytelling and through the experiences that I've gone through to hopefully help them, or maybe awaken them, or be an eye opener for them to keep moving in their life and in their journey.
No, my question was selfish from my end, not at your end at all.
I was like, are you
Because
calling me selfish? I'm
no,
just kidding.
no, I'm taking revenge for all what I said about working moms. So no, to make it more clear, I meant I see it in a selfish way because you might lose business from giving free those leads. That's what I meant, and I I hope everybody get the idea.
Yeah, no, so on that point too, I look at it as like a really great way, as I mentioned, in connecting with people. if I am willing to share my story and if you read it and you really resonate with it, what's the next step, Nidal? You're most likely going to reach out to me somehow.
Yeah.
Maybe not the time that you read that. Maybe it's months later, years later. I mean, we have a common friend, Junette. She followed my content for months, like for 6, 7 months, she was saying, until she finally reached out because something I said really touched a nerve with her. And now we do a lot of things together. We've collaborated on many levels. And so I look at it as that's my way of putting myself out there and saying, I invite you to come chat with me about this. Like if you liked what you read, then let's start the conversation here. And I do think that like so my word in 2020, I think everybody should have a word every single year. My word in 2020 was value. And it's so perfect for what I was doing because I always want to be able to provide the value to people. And not that I can give everything away for free, of course, but how do you give that value to people? What value are you giving to them where they don't feel like they just walked away empty-handed?
Tisha, I know I'm the time is red, and I know you're gonna do the
Hey, I wasn't going to do that until you were ready, but I can
so.
talk for days.
Me too. I'll do the dishes later. So
Honey, the dishes later, later.
you are on more than one platform, social media wise. You are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Pinterest.
Mhm.
Correct?
I am, but I will say this. I will phrase it this way. I am more on LinkedIn than on any of those other platforms. I have a presence on those ones that you mentioned, not so much Twitter.
Hmm.
Pinterest is really just for, like finding design ideas and cool quotes and things. But yeah, LinkedIn is really where I choose to spend my time and how you and I met. We met through LinkedIn.
Yeah. Thank you, LinkedIn. I
Thank you,
owe you a lot.
LinkedIn.
Yeah. One more question,
Sure.
and I'm done. I want to stop by the challenge you started about personal brand builder challenge
Uh-huh.
with the 5 big ideas. I'm speechless. Like it's a big lead. What you gonna tell us more about the personal brand builder challenge?
So the personal brand builder challenge, I really created back in October. I launched my very first one. I've now done two, and I look at I look I look at how everybody is a brand. Needle, you're a brand. Nathan's a brand. I'm a brand. We're all our unique personal brand. No one can take that away from us. And there's some people that are doing extremely well with their personal brands, and there are others that don't nurture it at all. They don't have a brand, they don't put it out there. And so I really wanted to encourage people to give them those tips and tools that personal branding doesn't happen overnight. Of course, like if you look back at those 5 tips,
5 tips. Yeah.
that you've got to be able to stand out. You can't keep playing it safe. Like those are things that are on my LinkedIn profile under the very first featured post.
I love
And
taking risks.
yeah, you've got to be able to take risks. You can't play it safe. Like I always say that you don't want to keep blending in. It's time you start standing out. And when I'm talking especially to entrepreneurs, how are you standing out? Just like YL was asking, how is my tech company going to be different? How do I disrupt? I love that word. By the way, Needle, that should be another one of your keywords for your Monday, disruptor. How are you going to disrupt what's going on in the world? How are you going to do it differently? How are you going to stake your claim in the ground and say, this is what I do? Nobody else does it the way I do it. And that is how you start to build your personal brand. It's how you become known for that. So I created this whole 5 day, and it's free. It's free. It's a challenge where I teach you over the
You
course
need
of 5 days.
you need an agent. You're you're losing a lot of business.
My thing is, I always want to give people the nuggets. I want them to be able to come to me and say, I like this girl. She gives me value. I trust her. Now, how do I work with her next? I do find it difficult if you don't give anything to people and you're like, this is what it is. This is how you work with me. This is my testimonials. So I am definitely that person of let me give you a little bit to help you. And then I know you'll come back because you got the value that you wanted and you know how we work together.
And that's what differentiate you because you see a lot, I can help you build your brand in 90 days and that's it. You know, You need to be engaged in a real business. Now we know what we're gonna get, but the technicality needs to do the business, and
Right.
this is a very very good strategy, and at the same time, as I told you, it needs bravery to put it out there.
hmm And think about what the challenge model is doing. I'm bringing in cold leads to a challenge. They don't know me from Eve. They've never met me. They don't know my style. But by the end, they're like, I like her. I like her a lot. She's a good friend now. And now I want to work with her. Like that's what it's doing. It's establishing that trust and that rapport and starting the relationship that then it makes it easier for me to be able to serve that person because now I know a little bit more about them. We're not going in blindly. I'm not doing Facebook ads. Like they're actually getting something of value to then make the informed decision of, okay, now I know I want to move forward. Now I know what to do. It's also, like you said, there are two types of people in the world. There's a book, Nathan, I was just reading this book called Hustle Harder. Neil Patel wrote it with some other co-authors. But do you know who Shonda Rhimes is? Nidal, she created Grey's Anatomy. She has several different, series out there. Grey's
Uh,
Anatomy, of course, being a talk show, a series, a show. There's one thing that she said that I really, really stuck by. She said there are people that they overdream. They're the daydreamer, rather than being the doer. And here's what I'm going to say. When I have people come into the challenge, I can tell who's actually going to take the content and run with it and who's going to take it and put it on their shelf. Like who's actually going to do something with that content. So it's kind of like a weed out process as well of you're either going to love it and you're going to start moving into action, or you're going to go ahead and just push it to the side and next year you'll be in the same place. I don't want to be stuck in the same place next year.
Follow Tisha Marie, and you will push it to the next level. I want to thank you very much for this time. And I want to share one more thing with the audience. When we were texting to make this live a reality, I texted you that you'll never regret. And you texted back that you don't live with regret.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone who joined us, this is my big lesson learned from Tisha Marie. Don't live your life with regret. Thank you very much, Tisha, for your time and wishing you an amazing, successful new year.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be on, and thanks to everybody who is joining in live or watching the replay.
And thank you, Nathan, for this compliment.
That's a great compliment. And you do. You have such a soothing voice, like almost like a jazz voice.
I'm not doing the dishes.
The dishes will wait till tomorrow.
Yeah. Thank you again. And we'll see you in a couple hours. You have a live session.
I
Everybody,
do.
what time is it? Four?
It's at 1:30 today. I'm just doing a little pop-up for Friday's live event that I'm hosting. And then on Thursday, so tomorrow I do another Tisha Talks live at 4:45.
Don't block me.
I won't block you. I won't block you. You're in.
Thank you again, Tisha, and enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Hello again, everyone. Thank you, Nathan, for the sweet words, and thank you for all the engagement. Thank you, everybody, for being with us today. My guest was Tisha Marie, and she was amazing guest. Everybody, I wanna end this session as usual. My takeaway for today is live your life with no regrets. This is Nidal Haykal.